Yesterday we discussed like a receipt related setup, right? Like our receipt class, receipt method, receipt source, and receivable activities. Like what kind of activities we can create, like activities for miscellaneous receipt transactions, the report, customer report, write-off, adjustments. So we discussed yesterday. So today we'll discuss the late charge. So what is late charge? Late charge means if the invoice is overdue, like the customer is not paying the invoice amount, outstanding due amount within the due period, like within the payment term, or it's overdue. So you can apply the late charge policy. If your company is following some late charge policy, you can charge the late charge, financial charges, penalty, or interest, whatever. So for that, Oracle has provided a late charge functionality. For late charge functionality, we need to decide what should be our late charge policy. Late charge policy means how we are going to impose that penalty to the customer, either through a debit memo or through a receivable activities, or you can create some adjustment and positive adjustment and add that late charge to that invoice, or you can create an interest invoice, like whatever interest you are imposing. For that amount, you can create one interest amount, interest invoice separately. So based on these options, these are called late charge document. Either you can create an adjustment, or you can create a debit memo, or you can create an invoice. And in addition to that, you can charge some penalty also. So interest is one component, like about 10% or 5% late charge you are imposing on the customer. And over and above that, you are charging some penalty also, like why the it's a delay. So it's a late payment and penalty. Mostly we'll see in the credit card statement. If it is overdue, you are doing the late payment, they will charge financial charges, late charge, penalty, lot of financial components they will charge. So there are several setups we have to do. First, you have to decide in late charge system option how you are going to generate the late charge. So for that purpose, you have to provide a late charge document type, like transaction type, whether it's invoice or debit memo or adjustment. Let me show you. Receivable activities, sorry, system option, receivable system option. We'll check for US1 business unit.
Do not get physical, just tricks.
So here you will get one section for late charge. Okay, assess late charge. If you enable this, you have to give interest invoice transaction types. If you want to create interest invoice for the late charge, you have to provide a transaction type here. Okay. This transaction type separately you have to create. The debit memo, if you want to create, again you have to create a debit memo transaction type. If you want to create activity or not usual transaction, but as a activity, receivable activity, that also you have to create an activity here. How you can see that? if you interest invoice activity, right? This is the transaction type. Late charge interest. Late charge penalty also you can create activity. So how you can see? So once you enable here, this is the highest level of setup. Like system option first we have to enable. If you don't enable here, then other setup will not be applied and will not be effective. If you go to your transaction type, suppose receivable activity, right? Late charge interest. This activity we have created and we have assigned some GL account here so that whenever we create a late charge for the customer, this activity will be used to create a transaction received. If you want to create debit memo, then we have to go to transaction type. Manage transaction type, right? So interest invoice, if you want to create, you have to first create a transaction type for this so that you can use this for your late charge interest invoice creation. So basic transaction type you can create, like you have to give your revenue, receivable accounts, tax account, etc. And all the options you have to provide. If you want to create debit memo invoice, right? You have to create a debit memo transaction type. Okay, similar way. You have to give all your revenue account, receivable account. Then once you enable the late charge policy in system option and giving all the document type, transaction types. You have to create your customer profile class for which customer you want to apply the late charge. Okay, so this tax setup, the tax name is manage transaction type.
So if there are bulk customers, you still do it manually for all of the customers?
No, not
Yes.
manually. You have to create a profile class, and for that profile class, you can assign to the
Assign
customer
all the
side.
customers?
Customer side, yeah.
Oh, okay.
For example, default, I'll take one default site, a default profile. This is a lengthy setup actually. If you skip anything, this will not work.
Yeah.
So this profile class, it's this profile class, if you assign to any customer site, late charge will be applied for that customer site.
Right. Okay.
So now these are profile class setup, and but for late charge, we have a separate tab. First, we have to make enable late charge. Okay. To enable late charge, Again, what I discussed, like late charge calculation method. How you are going to, like, whether you want only the late payment charges or only the overdue invoice, or overdue invoice and late payment. Okay. And late charge type, whether like we discussed, like whether you want to create a debit memo or adjustment or invoice. So based on this transaction type will be used to create transaction. This transaction type. Here you have to mention. Okay. For example, I'll take invoice. I want to create interest invoice. And then you have to see what is the payment term you have to create. My payment term is net 30 days. And my interest days period is 30. Like based on interest will be calculated periodically for every month. It will calculate. Grace days means some 5 days or 10 days or 2 days. You have to, as per your late charge policy, if the due date is today and from the next day it should charge a late charge. It will calculate the late charge, but you are giving 2 days grace period. That means on Tuesday, after from Wednesday, the late charge policy will apply like that. And then interest calculation formula. Either you want a flat rate or you can a compound rate or any schedule, interest schedule. Like if it is 10 days delay, what is the interest rate? If 15 days delay, what is the interest rate? If 1 month delay, what is the interest rate? So you can create an interest tier, or if you can give a flat rate also. Flat rate means whatever be the day, that does not matter. If it is late means we'll apply 10% charges or 5% charges like that. So interest calculation period, monthly basis or daily basis. So we need monthly. And then assess late charge once. No, this is optional. You can skip it. But if it is yes means it will calculate the late charge once. But if you make it no, whenever you run the late charge program, system will calculate till the payment is complete. And this late charge policy, you have to apply this. These are currency specific. Okay, so you can see here for all currency, right? So you can mention here what is the minimum receipt amount if when late charge. If it is amount is like it's kind of tolerance amount. If it is 1 rupees, 2 rupees, or $2, it's overdue. We can ignore it. So minimum receipt amount you have to mention here. If it is more than that amount, then we'll apply the late charge. Minimum dunning invoice amount. Dunning invoice means the collection department will send the dunning letter, right? Reminder letter, payment reminder letter. And if that reminder letter outstanding amount is $7 in this case. For CNY currency, Chinese currency. For USD, it is $1. If it is $1, then late charge will apply. And if it's a cross currency transactions, what is the exchange rate we have to give? So we use the corporate rate type. If the ledger currency and transaction currency is the same, then exchange rate will not be applied. In case the currency is different or it's a cross currency transaction, late charge will be applied. So for the US dollar, again, you can see here interest charge type fixed rate. So I'll apply 10% late charge and minimum invoice balance overdue amount. Here you can mention what is the overdue amount it should consider for late charge calculation. That's all. And mandatory information interest minimum customer balance. So this is overall customer balance, like all the invoice. It will consider all the invoice, and if it is $25, then it will charge. It is if the individual invoice amount is 50, then it will apply late charge. So once you do that setup, save and close. Apply the changes to new profile only. No, apply these changes to all profile. Once you create this customer profile class, you have to go to that particular customer, all the customers. Whenever you are loading that customer, you have to provide that late charge, customer profile class. So let me go to customer. Receivable, billing, managed customer. Managed customer, then I have a customer called Dixon. Dixon Industry. I'll go to that customer site, bill to and ship to site. Because I'm doing for US currency, so I have taken a USD site, United States site. The country is United States. And you can verify the primary bill to ship should be enabled as primary. And go to the profile history. Here in the profile history, here the profile class is poor. Poor means the customer usually delays the payment. Poor profile class. So poor means it's not that much good credibility. The credibility of the customer is not good, but credit worthiness is not good. So you can see here late charge. Where is the late charge? Related credit limit and late charge. Okay, in the second cell. Here, enable late charge. First, once you profile class, you assign this profile class, whatever late charge related configuration will be applied to this customer. Okay, so if you select here, manage customer profile class. So select the customer profile class as the poor. You can see all the setups related to late charge also. So late charge, here it is 30% interest date period and late charge type is debit memo. Payment term is immediate. Calculation method is simple, not compound. So for each currency, they have separate configuration. Same configuration, what we discussed. Okay. So now, once you assign this profile class, this late charge policy will be applied. Again, in this same customer side, you have to, this is mandatory that you have to enable the late charge. Once you enable the late charge, the same setups will be available here. Okay, that is one setup. What is other setup? So interest tier and charge schedule. This is not mandatory. This is mandatory if you are going to create dynamic rates like based on the late charge or late payment due dates. Number of days late. But if you are a flat rate or fixed rate, this interest tier is not required. But you can do that setup. You can verify if you want that.